My brother died in Zimbabwe. While I was burying him, my fiancée emptied our baby fund and blocked my number. M30. I don't even know how to start this because the last 2 weeks have felt like living through someone else's nightmare. My older brother died 13 days ago in Harare. Heart attack at 34. No warning, no goodbye, just a phone call at 4 a.m. from my mother screaming in Shona, and I couldn't understand anything except his name. I'm a forklift operator at a freight warehouse. I had $3,200 in my personal account and another $15,000 in a joint savings account with my fiancée Mara. That joint account was our baby fund. She's 7 months pregnant, due in February. We'd been saving for 2 years. I took every dollar from my personal account and bought the first ticket I could find to Zimbabwe. Landed in Johannesburg, caught a connector to Harare. Took 31 hours total. I didn't sleep. My brother left behind 2 kids, ages 6 and 9. Their mother died 3 years ago from malaria. My mom is 61 and works cleaning offices. She can't afford to raise 2 more children on her own. The funeral cost $1,800. I paid it. School fees for the kids, $400 for the semester. Medical bills he'd left unpaid, another $600. I gave my mom $800 to hold her over while we figured out what happens next. I did what family does. What you're supposed to do when someone dies and leaves children behind. The plan was to fly home after 5 days, get back to work, send money regularly to help with the kids. Simple. Except when I got to the airport for my return flight, immigration flagged my passport. There was a mismatch between my Zimbabwean birth certificate and my U.S. resident alien card. Some bureaucratic nightmare about updated biometric records that hadn't synced properly. They wouldn't let me board. I spent 6 hours at the U.S. Embassy trying to sort it out. The consular officer was sympathetic, but said it would take at least 2 weeks to process emergency travel documents. Maybe 3. I sat on a bench outside the embassy building and tried to call Mara. Straight to voicemail. Tried again. Voicemail. Sent a text explaining what happened. Message delivered but not read. I called her mom. No answer. Called her sister. Blocked. That's when I checked my bank account and saw that our joint savings had a balance of $0. $15,000 gone. Transaction history showed a single withdrawal 2 days earlier. Transfer to M. Quinn personal checking. I called the bank from Zimbabwe. They said both account holders have equal rights to withdraw funds. Nothing they could do. I tried Mara again. Voicemail box full now. I sat there on that bench with $140 left to my name, stuck in a country I hadn't lived in since I was 12, my brother's ashes still warm, and the woman carrying my child had just cleaned out everything we'd saved. A buddy from work finally answered when I called. Man, where are you? Mara's been posting on Facebook that you abandoned her. What? She's saying you took off to Africa and won't return her calls. That she's scared and alone and doesn't know if you're coming back. I was calling her 15 times a day. Every call blocked. My coworker loaned me $800 via Western Union. Another guy from my warehouse shift sent $300. I found a lawyer in Harare who handled visa documentation and paid him $200 up front to expedite my case. I'm sleeping on my cousin's couch, eating 1 meal a day to stretch the money, checking my phone every hour to see if Mara will respond. She posted a photo on Instagram yesterday. It was her birthday. She was at some upscale steakhouse, wearing a new dress I'd never seen, smiling at the camera. Caption read, "Treating myself since no one else will." The baby fund we'd been building for 2 years, gone in one transaction while I was burying my brother. I don't understand what I did wrong. I don't understand how helping my family became abandonment. I don't understand how she could look at herself in a mirror after doing this. Someone at work sent me a screenshot of her Facebook post from 3 days ago. When your partner chooses his family obligations over the family he's about to have. Guess I know where I stand now. I'm sitting here in Zimbabwe trying to figure out how to get home while the mother of my unborn child is telling everyone I'm the villain. Is this real? Am I losing my mind? How does someone do this? Update 1. I'm still in Zimbabwe. Day 18 now. The embassy processed my emergency travel documents, but there's a backlog and I'm waiting for final approval. Maybe another week. Thank you to everyone who reached out. Some of you sent genuinely helpful advice. Some of you just let me vent. Both helped. Since my last post, things have gotten worse in ways I didn't think were possible. Mara never unblocked me. I'm still completely cut off from any direct contact. Every call goes to voicemail. Every text sits on delivered, but never read. But she's been busy on social media. 3 days ago, she posted a long Facebook status about standing alone as a woman while carrying life, and how some men will abandon you the moment things get hard. The post got 200+ reactions and dozens of comments supporting her. My name wasn't mentioned, but anyone who knows us knows who she's talking about. I wanted to comment, wanted to defend myself. My buddy back home told me not to engage, that it would only make things worse. He was probably right. Yesterday, a mutual friend, someone who'd been liking Mara's posts and commenting supportive things, messaged me privately. "Man, I don't know what's going on between you two, but I saw something you should know about." He sent me photos, 3 of them. Mara at that birthday steakhouse, the one from her Instagram post, but these were from a different angle, taken by someone else at the restaurant who happened to recognize her. In the first photo, you can see part of the booth across from her. A man's hand on the table. A watch I recognized immediately because I'd looked at buying the same one last year, Tag Heuer, around $3,000. Way out of my price range. Second photo, wider angle. The man's face partially visible in the background reflection of the restaurant window. Colt Mercer, her ex-boyfriend from before we got together. The guy she'd sworn was completely out of her life when we started dating 3 years ago. Third photo, taken as they were leaving. Colt's hand on the small of her back, guiding her out the door. I stared at these photos for an hour, showed them to my cousin, showed them to my mom. Everyone saw the same thing I did. "How much did that dinner cost?" my cousin asked. I looked up the restaurant. Entrees started at $60. Steaks went up to $150. Our baby fund. The money we'd saved from my overtime shifts and her weekend receptionist work. The money meant to cover hospital bills and a crib and diapers and everything a newborn needs. She'd spent it taking herself and her ex-boyfriend to a 200+ dinner while I was sleeping on a couch in Harare eating rice and beans once a day. I sent the photos to 3 people I trust back home. Asked them to keep it quiet, but just hold on to them. I don't know what I'll do with them yet, but I know I need people who can verify what I'm seeing. One of those people came back with more information I didn't ask for. Colt's truck had been parked outside our apartment, my apartment, multiple times over the past 2 weeks. Neighbors had seen him. One neighbor, Nolan Draper, an old retired truck driver who lives 2 doors down, saw Colt helping Mara carry in groceries last Thursday. "I thought maybe he was just a friend helping out," Nolan told my buddy. "Didn't seem like my business." Colt Mercer in my apartment, with my fiancée, while I'm 8,000 miles away burying my brother. I tried calling Mara's sister again, from a different number. She picked up. "Is Mara okay?" I asked. "She's fine, no thanks to you. I've been trying to reach her for 2 weeks. I got stuck here because of passport issues. I didn't abandon anyone." "She said you'd say that." "What does that mean?" "It means she told us you'd make up excuses, that you'd blame paperwork and bureaucracy instead of taking responsibility for your choices." "What choices?" "My brother died. I came to bury him." "How is that a choice?" "You chose to prioritize them over her. That's all I need to know." She hung up. I sat there holding this borrowed phone, realizing Mara had spent 2 weeks building a narrative, painting me as the deadbeat who ran off to Africa, turning her family against me. My own family here is asking if I did something wrong, if maybe I should have stayed home and sent money instead, like I could send money for a funeral I didn't have yet. The baby is due in 8 weeks. I'm supposed to be there. I'm supposed to be setting up the nursery and going to the final doctor's appointments and making sure everything is ready. Instead, I'm stranded in Zimbabwe while the mother of my child is having expensive dinners with her ex-boyfriend on money we saved together. I finally got through to my boss yesterday. He's been holding my position but said he needs me back within 2 weeks, or he has to let me go. Union rules. "I'm trying," I told him. "The embassy says any day now." "I believe you, Elias. But I got 40 guys who want your shift. I can't hold it forever. If I lose my job, I lose my health insurance. which means no coverage for the birth, which means more debt I can't afford. Everything I worked for is disappearing while I watch from the other side of the world. The mutual friend who sent the photos asked if I wanted him to confront Mara, show her that people know what she's doing. Not yet, I said. Let her think she's getting away with it, because here's what I'm realizing. Mara isn't just moving on. She's executing something. The blocked calls, the social media campaign, the ex-boyfriend suddenly back in the picture, the complete withdrawal of our savings. This isn't grief or fear or pregnancy hormones. This is calculated. I don't know what her endgame is yet, but I'm starting to understand that the woman I thought I knew might never have existed at all. Update 2. I landed at JFK 6 days ago. 23 days total in Zimbabwe. The longest 3 weeks of my life. My buddy picked me up from the airport. I asked him to drive me straight to the apartment. I needed to see Mara, needed to talk face to face, needed to figure out what the hell was happening. We pulled up to my building around 9 p.m. I had my key ready, went to unlock the door. Key didn't fit. The locks had been changed. I stood there trying my key 3 times like an idiot before I accepted what I was looking at. I peered through the window. The lights were off. I couldn't see any furniture. Nolan Draper, the retired truck driver neighbor I mentioned, his lights were on. I knocked. He opened the door, saw me, and his face did this thing where you could tell he'd been dreading this conversation. Elias, you're back. What happened to my apartment, Nolan? He invited me in. Made coffee I didn't drink. Took 10 minutes to work up to it. She moved out about a week ago, he said. Had that guy, the one with the fancy watch, helping her. They loaded up a U-Haul, took all the furniture, your tools, the TV, everything. Everything? I saw them carry out your motorcycle, the one you kept in the storage unit, your welding equipment, those pneumatic tools you kept in the closet. I felt something crack in my chest. That welding kit cost me $1,800. The motorcycle was $4,000, paid off last year. The tools were from my father before he passed. Did she say where she was going? Nope. I asked if she needed help and she said she was finally getting away from a bad situation. I called the landlord. He confirmed Mara had given notice, paid the early termination fee, and removed herself from the lease. I was still on it, but she'd taken her name off. Where's my stuff? I asked. I don't know anything about that. When she moved out, the apartment was empty. I called the police. Filed a report for stolen property. The officer taking my statement asked if I had receipts proving ownership. For tools my dead father gave me, no. Were they purchased jointly? We weren't married. Everything was mine before we moved in together. But you lived together and she had access? Yes, but that doesn't mean she can just take, without a clear paper trail showing sole ownership. This is a civil matter, not criminal. You'll need to sue her in small claims court. The next day, I got a letter via certified mail. It was from Mara's lawyer. Inside was a document allegedly signed by me, dated 3 days before my brother died. It stated that I was gifting Mara all personal property in the apartment as compensation for emotional distress and abandonment. The signature looked like mine. Same loops, same pressure. But I never signed it. I took it to a friend who works in document verification. He looked at it for 10 minutes. It's good, he said. If this is forged, someone put real effort into it. You'll need a professional handwriting analyst, and that costs money. Money I didn't have anymore. I called Mara's lawyer, got voicemail, left a message saying the document was fraudulent and I wanted my property returned. No callback. I reached out to Colt Mercer directly, found him on Facebook, sent a message. You helped her steal my stuff. I want it back. He blocked me within the hour. My boss gave me my shift back, but with a warning. No more emergencies for a while, yeah? I went out on a limb here. I'm sleeping on my buddy's couch. All my clothes are gone except what I had in Zimbabwe. My bank account has $340 in it. I'm 30 years old with nothing, but here's the thing that keeps eating at me. The joint account withdrawal happened the same day I was stuck at the embassy. The locks changed while I was still trying to get a flight home. The forged document dated before my brother died, like she'd planned this before I even left. I asked Nolan if he'd seen Mara before I left for Zimbabwe, if Colt had been around back then. Now that you mention it, Nolan said slowly, I did see that truck here a few times, month or so ago. Figured it was a friend. Mara waved at me once when she got in, acted normal. A month ago, before my brother died, before any of this started, she'd been planning this. The pregnancy, the joint account, the narrative about abandonment, all of it a setup waiting for the right trigger. My brother dying was just her opportunity. I filed the small claims suit yesterday. $8,000 in property value. It'll take months to get a court date. Even if I win, collecting is another nightmare. My co-worker who helped me in Zimbabwe asked what I'm going to do. I'm going to prove she forged that document, I said. I'm going to get my stuff back. And then I'm going to figure out if that baby is even mine. Because here's what I've been avoiding thinking about. Mara is 7 months pregnant. Colt has been around for at least a month, probably longer. The way he had his hand on her back at that restaurant. The way she blocked me completely while keeping him close. The math doesn't add up anymore. And I'm done pretending it does. Final update. It's been 4 months since I got back from Zimbabwe. I'm writing this final update because people have been asking for closure, and because I think it's important to document how something like this actually ends. Not with dramatic confrontations or tearful apologies, but with paperwork, court dates, and the slow realization that someone you trusted never existed at all. The small claims case went to court 3 weeks ago. I brought my employment records showing I was in Zimbabwe during the time of the alleged gift document. Bank statements showing the joint account withdrawal happened while I was stuck at the embassy. Character witnesses from work. Mara's lawyer brought the forged document and a story about how I'd signed it before leaving as a goodbye gesture, in case I never came back. The judge wasn't buying it. He ordered a forensic handwriting analysis at Mara's expense. Results came back in 8 days. The signature was forged. Not even a good forgery once an expert looked at it. Wrong pen pressure. Traced rather than naturally signed. Mara was ordered to return all property or pay fair market value. Total judgment, $7,200. But here's where it gets worse for her. As part of the custody discussion, because yes, despite everything, I was still listed as the father on legal documents, my lawyer pushed for a prenatal paternity test. Mara fought it. Her lawyer claimed it was invasive and unnecessary stress on the pregnancy. The judge disagreed, ordered a non-invasive prenatal paternity test. Results took 2 weeks. I was sitting in my buddy's living room when my lawyer called with the results. I already knew. Had known somewhere deep down since I saw those photos of her with Colt. 0% probability of paternity. The baby wasn't mine. Not 2% chance of mix-up. Not 15% uncertainty. 0, which meant Mara was already pregnant when we opened that joint savings account. Already pregnant when we talked about baby names. Already pregnant when I worked 60-hour weeks to build that fund. The timeline clicked into place. 7 months pregnant now, which meant conception happened around March. I was working double shifts in March because we were saving for the baby. Mara was texting me pictures of nursery furniture she wanted to buy. She was already carrying Colt's child and letting me fund her life. When my brother died and I had to leave for Zimbabwe, she saw her exit. The forged document was probably created months earlier, just waiting for the right moment. My emergency trip gave her the perfect cover story. Abandoned pregnant fiancé, plays better on Facebook than cheated on boyfriend with ex, got caught. The whole thing was a setup. The joint account, the baby, the engagement. She'd been planning to leave the entire time, just needed me to play the villain so she could walk away with the money and the sympathy. My brother's death was just convenient timing. We had a final court hearing last week to resolve everything. Mara showed up pregnant enough that strangers probably offered her their seat, played the victim right up until the judge read the paternity results into the record. Her lawyer tried to redirect, talking about emotional manipulation and complicated relationships. The judge cut him off. Your client falsified documents, misrepresented paternity, and committed theft through deception. We're done here. Mara was ordered to pay back the $15,000 from the joint account plus interest. The property judgment stands. She's also facing potential criminal charges for the forged document. The DA is reviewing the case. She'll never pay me back. I know that. She's living with Colt now in some rundown apartment in a worse part of town. He's unemployed. She's working part-time at a call center. They're barely making rent. The baby was born 2 weeks ago. A boy. I know because her sister posted photos on Facebook before remembering I could see them and blocking me. Part of me, small part, wonders if I would have been a good father. If I would have loved that kid even knowing the truth. But that's not my life anymore. I got transferred to a different warehouse location across state lines. Better pay, closer to my cousin from my dad's side. I'm sending $500 a month back to Zimbabwe for my nephews. They're doing better. One made honor roll. I didn't get my tools back, didn't get my motorcycle back. Probably never will. The money from the judgment might trickle in over years through wage garnishment, or I might never see a dollar. But I got something more important. I got my life back. Got the clarity to see what Mara actually was, a person willing to weaponize pregnancy, death, and distance to get what she wanted. Someone asked me in the comments of my first post if I thought I'd done something wrong. If maybe I should have communicated better, stayed home, chosen differently. I buried my brother. I helped my mother. I took care of 2 orphan children who needed someone to step up. I did exactly what a decent human being does when family needs them. The fact that Mara saw that as an opportunity instead of a tragedy tells you everything about who she is. Last week I got a message request on Instagram. Mara, from a new account. I'm sorry about how things ended. I was scared and pregnant and made mistakes. Can we talk? I stared at that message for maybe 30 seconds. Then I blocked the account and deleted the request. She didn't message to apologize. She messaged because Colt probably isn't working out and she needs a backup plan. Needs someone to help with the baby that isn't his either. I'm not that person anymore. I'm not anyone's safety net or ATM or fallback option. To the guys going through something similar, here's what I learned. When someone shows you who they are through their actions during your worst moment, believe them the first time. Document everything. Even when it feels paranoid. Especially when it feels paranoid. Loyalty and integrity aren't weaknesses. Being kind to your family doesn't make you a fool. Taking care of your responsibilities doesn't make you a doormat. And sometimes the trash takes itself out. You just have to be strong enough not to go digging through the dumpster later. I lost $15,000, my tools, my motorcycle, and 2 years of my life invested in someone who was using me the whole time, but I kept my integrity, kept my relationships with my family, kept my self-respect. Mara can have Colt and the life they built on lies. I'll be over here building something real.